Alright, ready to start?
Yep.
This is the awkward part. Hello everyone, you are listening to the Video Gabecast episode 20? We might actually be up to 20 now.
Wow, that far, huh?
Maybe 19, 20, something like that. I don't know. Sometimes I'm wrong, but the title of the podcast will be right when I upload it. Yeah. Joining me this week once again, Vincent Paz.
What's up?
And Dr. Cat, right?
Yes.
Yay! I remembered. I'm tired. Newcomer to the show. We've acquired new members. And we're here to talk about video games. We'll start with the newcomer. What have you been playing this week? Or recently?
Well, actually this week, in fact. Yesterday I went out and bought a PS4.
Yay! Just for Destiny.
Nah, I'm interested by it, but I'd rather get the, I bought
Borderlands.
I guess, I don't actually know too much about it yet.
Okay.
I kind of stayed out of the loop. But, no, I actually bought it mostly for Shadows of Mordor, which is coming out. Hopefully that doesn't suck. But, I bought The Last of Us Remastered, which I already have on PS. Yeah, I know.
I hate you. I want it so bad. Oh.
It's pretty sweet.
Have you, like, I'm not going to go into story stuff because we never know if Paz here will cross over into the dark side and spend money.
Hey, if I had the money, I would definitely get a PS4 and get The Last of Us. But I don't.
I had to convince my girlfriend after a long struggle to say yes to that one.
She just needs to, and I won't say spoilers, but she just needs to see first 15 minutes of that game, and that's enough to convince her. Oh no,
we have it on PS3, and she's already seen it all the way through. It's just like we have the money for it. I just had to coerce her.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you guys. I've beaten it on PS3, but I want to play it again. And that music in that game, like I listen to it.
The soundtrack's wonderful.
Have you seen Grounded? The making of The Last of Us?
I've seen, like, parts. I haven't seen the whole thing.
There's a part where the guy from The Last of Us that wrote the music, like, the one guy that wrote all the music. Gustavo Santiago or Santiago?
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Spanish, I'm white, I can't do it. I'm illiterate. But yeah, he talked about how he fled genocide to come to America and everything, and
I saw that part.
I don't really, like, music about pain, like, you can really tell who has no real pain, and they write music about it, like, people like Adele and whatever, and then you have people like this that fled genocide and then write music that's supposed to reflect pain, and,
it's a totally different sound.
Anyway, diversion. What else have you been up to?
Well, not to steal the thunder or anything, but I also recently bought Dark Souls 2. I never played the first one, and I played Demon Souls, but Dark Souls 2, I played it all afternoon on my day off.
You're going to break in that new controller with this game.
Motherfucker.
Throw it against the wall.
I think I did all right.
I heard really good things about it.
It's pretty fucking rad. My first character accidentally made him look like fucking SpongeBob. And
how is that an accident? That should be your first choice.
I don't know. He looked okay in the creator and everything. I was like, some square-jawed Gaston-looking motherfucker. And then I'm playing the game, and it's like, this is a catastrophe.
Is he like throwing Krabby Patties?
That's one of my next games on my Steam list, man.
SpongeBob?
Oh fuck. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
How hard is it?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of good at games like that, but I didn't have that hard of a time. I mean, I've only beaten the giant, and it's just taken me a long time to acquaint myself with this control scheme because it's really fucking weird compared to like everything else I've played. But I don't know. It's a pain in the ass, but I didn't feel like it's too hard, especially compared to my first time on Demon's Souls.
I played up to the first boss on Dark Souls on that bunk-ass PC port, and, the fact that it wasn't a busted PC port, that wasn't what steered me away. I got to that first boss, and I said, okay.
Yeah, oh.
Fuck. And
Yeah.
I shut it off. And never fucking went back. So, and I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm a busy, important man, but, like, I don't have enough time to keep dying and going back and dying and going back, because then it's like...
I'm in the same boat.
And I got my lickings with Nintendo, so I kind of filled that part of my life out already.
Yeah. So where are you guys at on, I guess I'll ask a question, like retro games and... yeah.
Oh, you start. Pause. If you're still alive.
I've recently been playing the Wii version of Mario, which can include 4 players. And as far as the other retro games, I don't really play them that
Ronnie
much.
Gets, or Paz gets.
Yeah, the Wii version of every retro game. I don't really play retro games that much. I do have a controller, like a USB NES controller.
Oh yeah, I got one of those.
But
make your
playing any
girlfriend
of
buy you a Nintendo.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's what I need to do.
I should have sent you a picture of like my entire setup here before we started the show.
Wolf, you got a haunted chair there.
Oh yeah, it's squeaky
Sounds
Goodwill
like
chair.
Dave Mustaine at what song was that? What was that Megadeth song where he goes, "Whoa"? Devil's Island? I don't know. You guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to get caught up on your Megadeth.
I don't know, I love Megadeth, but I haven't paid them attention since United Abominations.
Endgame is really good. Anyway.
I do remember playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!
Oh my god.
That was a really good game when I used to have an NES, but I used to play the shit out of the game. And trying to play past, like, I don't know if you remember the really tall, skinny guy that looked really feminine, but I don't know, it'd be really hard to, like, get to the last character because you get your ass kicked so many times.
Yeah, no, I could never get past, Soda Popinski, or Vodka Drunkinsky is his, like, real name.
Oh.
That's a great name. Also sounds super racist in modern time.
But honestly, most of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is pretty racist.
Okay. Well, it's like a 20-year-old Japanese video game, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, remember the Indian guy who wears the turban and the gleaming jewel and his crazy Mirage Punch? And how
you had to hit him
he
in
has
the
a tiger's skin in the corner.
The only way to beat him was to hit him in that, where was it? You had to hit him in the forehead where his little
jewel.
circle thing. Yeah.
I think that's a marriage thing. The jewel. I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Yeah.
I don't know. To be honest, I don't really know much about Indian culture.
I worked with an Indian lady, and she told me, and just like every other piece of valuable information I've heard, it's gone. So I can't remember if she said if it was a marriage thing or not, but
oh yeah, I kind of totally
retro games.
No, didn't. Oh, sorry, ignore me.
Oh, I mean, were you saying something? Now we'll talk word.
Say it.
No, I totally like stole the question away from Ronnie though. What have we been playing this recently?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
sorry.
Oh.
I'm sure Ronnie doesn't have an encyclopedia of video games that he has been.
I mean, I used to.
through.
My mom gave away my NES and like all the NES games that came along with it.
Why
so
do mothers do this shit to us?
I don't fucking know.
I had a PlayStation, and I guess she figured like, oh, you don't need this shit anymore, so give it away to your relatives.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my god, my mom would do shit like that.
Yeah.
A horror story came true for me recently. I actually dream about this shit. An old friend of mine that I grew up playing with, he had like all the really cool NES games like Bubble Bobble and some shitty ones like Wall Street Kid. I can't remember everything off the top of my head. But he had a bunch of cool shit, DuckTales, and he was like the guy I would visit all the time. And then I didn't see him after like middle school or something. That was whatever. And then I ran into him like a couple of years ago. Yeah, so it'd been about 10 years since we'd seen each other. And I'm talking to him and I'm like, hey, do you still have any of that old Nintendo stuff? Like, I'll totally give you a bunch of money for all that. And he was like, oh, no, my mom just gave it all to Goodwill.
Oh my god.
Dude,
Shit.
why are you doing this to me? Why?
Wow. That's a lot of money, too.
I know. It's just like, fuck, man. If you're gonna give it away, at least, like, give it to me.
Yeah, don't give it to those assholes.
Like, do some goodwill to him, man. Come on.
Like, I'm collecting that shit, bro.
There is a Goodwill on Hawthorne Street in Portland, and you go there, and because it's all the rich yuppies
Oh, yeah, I
walking
know.
around down there. Oh my god, dude, it's so expensive in that Goodwill. It's like more than buying shit new in this Goodwill. Yeah. It's crazy. But rich airhead, kids don't know any better, so.
Yeah. That's the same way it is in downtown Portland, the Goodwill. Everything is like displayed in like a really like very fashionable sense, so it's really expensive.
Dude,
oh my god. It's all used shit. They probably crap their pants in those freaking pants you're buying for $100.
They didn't even wash them.
Oh my god!
The best Goodwill I'd ever been to was the one out in Warrenton, or on the way to Warrenton, in what's it called, Astoria?
Okay.
Yeah, that one. Oh man, they had shitloads of really cool Nintendo games. The only problem is they didn't have them in a display case that was under lock and key, so. Nintendo games didn't usually walk, but there was plenty of like PlayStation 1 games I'd find up there. Like I saw a copy of I don't think it's a PS1 game, but I found a copy of Panzer Dragoon. I'm like, oh fuck, I'll put it up, no disc. Like, oh you motherfuckers, like.
They don't know how valuable that shit is.
No, not like unless they have a disc catalog, and I'm just retarded. But Goodwill, I've never known the Goodwill to be that fucking organized. So,
they can be pretty.
That'd be like alphabetizing their books. Like, what's the point?
There's a.
It's all gonna get messed up anyways. So you end up all over the place.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually currently wanting to buy a bunch of old systems. So, because in the future, I want to get an Elgato and I want to start capturing that shit.
What is that? What do you say?
Elgato is a external. A capture device. You just plug in through HDMI to your Xbox or PS4, and then you just plug that into your PC, and then it records your gameplay there.
Oh, like it's a capture card.
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
an external capture card. I forgot the word.
Can you also hook up the old school gaming systems like the NES, SNES?
That's what I'm thinking, and that's kind of that's kind of what I'm going for with the Elgato more than the modern systems, because, I could record emulators with my PC and wireless Xbox 360 adapter and controllers. I can do that fairly easily, but when you have other people over and you bust out this old thing and you got the controllers, like the real controllers, it's just a lot cooler. Then, here, let's click on this emulated. Let's click on this ROM. Okay.
Let me hook up a USB NES controller.
Yes, by some shitty off-brand probably.
It's a lot cooler when you have the whole entire setup, the actual setup. It's just feels more real.
It's just money, man. That shit's expensive. It's
Yeah.
like $50 for any of the old systems roundabout. And if you want a proper Nintendo that will work, you're probably gonna have to buy the top loader, and that's like $100 because they're so rare.
Top loaders are nice, but I don't know. Every time I've ever seen one, it has like I can't remember how to describe it, but it's just like some shitty color problems on TVs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Well, the problem with the regular Nintendo apparently was it would bend the pins because, of course, gravity. You're putting this cartridge in horizontally, and just having it hang there would fuck up the pins, and apparently that's why they had so many problems working at all.
Oh yeah, the 72 pin connectors, they're all janky as shit.
Yeah, and so the vertical kind of solves that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
have a top loader though. I really wish I did, just because they do work better.
Yeah. The only reason I want to get into some older games is because video games right now, there's nothing coming out in a while, and it'd be fun to play old games with other people. But the idea of playing a game longer than figuring out what the fuck it is on my own, totally boring. Like, I remember having a lot of fun with old games. I've been playing since I was like 5. Most of that shit ain't worth your time no more unless you're saying, hey, look at this with me, with someone else.
Seems like all the current Steam games that are popular these days is the more old school versions. Like what's that game called that you showed me? Gang Beasts.
Oh, Gang Beasts.
Oh
yeah,
shit!
Broforce is good too.
I totally forgot to download. Not Broforce, the other one.
Gang Beasts.
Yes, I totally forgot to do that.
Did you see that? So, do you follow Giant Bomb at all?
I saw the video you were talking about.
Yeah, that shit was so funny.
It's not that I don't like Giant Bomb. I don't. They're not on my radar, I guess.
I drive, like, I spend over an hour behind the wheel every day. It's like half an hour there and an hour back. So,
yeah.
Podcasts. Lots of podcasts. I don't always have enough. So yeah, Giant Bomb, I've been listening to them for like 4 years, and then when Brian Davis died, it was like soul crushing. Because I'd never met Ryan Davis, but when you listen to people talk for years, you kind of form a weird relationship with them. Like you act like you feel like you know them personally.
Yeah.
But when I just turned on the podcast and they said, yeah, he's dead, and I was like, oh, it was kind of a shock. But anyway.
Yeah. Give me 2 minutes. I gotta grab a credit card so I can pay.
And we're back. We had a short break to refuel.
Siesta.
Yes. Refuel on beer, I guess. What else?
I'm gonna ask you a question, Gabe. What games have you been playing?
Well, I don't want to cut off Dog.
Oh, well, I guess we can still continue on with Captain.
Dr. Dog. There you go.
Doctor.
Dr. Dog.
Dr. Dog.
It sounds like a rapper. Like if Bill Cosby on the Cosby Show decided to rap, he would be Dr. Dog.
That guy's still going with his comedy shows. He's not giving up. He's like 100 years old in this.
It's like infinite.
Yeah.
He's a black guy that actually looks old, and that's how you know you're genuinely old. Because every black guy I've ever seen never looks old. It's like he'd be 99 years old, and it's like, you're like, oh, what are you, 15? Yeah, 99. Yeah. What? I worked with this guy who was like 50, and I thought he was like, I don't know, 35 the whole time.
Yeah, if you look at like Jamie Foxx and all those actors, those comedy actors, they look pretty young. They're actually like in their
like late 40s,
close to 50, aren't they?
Although those guys are at like the pinnacle of fitness too. So, but a lot of those actors work their ass off. Not saying they don't enjoy the billions of dollars that they get, but.
That money. Well, the billions of dollars might have something to do with their They're good looks.
Yeah, well, men aren't as prone to plastic surgery as women. I mean, not to burst anyone's bubble, but...
Hey, man, if I had $1 billion, I'd probably get boobed myself, too.
Oh, my God. This is like that episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force where Shake gets all the... no one here watched Aqua Teen Hunger Force, do you?
I watched it when it was coming out, but I never saw anything past the movie.
That and some Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, Cowboy Bebop's amazing.
It is. Yeah, that was early Adult Swim. Anyway,
Right.
games. What have you been playing? Anything else other than whatever the fuck we just talked about that I forgot? I don't even remember what you were playing before.
Talking to me or to...
Yeah.
Oh. No, it was Dark Souls and Last of Us.
Yeah, Dark Souls, yeah.
I'm also playing Breath of Fire 3.
Getting, what's that? Is that PS1 or Super Nintendo?
PS1.
Okay.
Yes. The only one...
Say again? Grand Theft Auto what?
What?
Wait, what game did you say? I didn't
Oh,
hear.
Breath of Fire 3.
Breath of Fire. I thought you said Grand Theft Auto. Shit, sorry.
How many beers have you had?
Less than 0?
Oh, well, you're fucking up. Doing it wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that game still play okay?
I enjoy it, but I feel like if you're into turn-based RPGs, I don't know, most of the games are probably exactly as you remember it for the most part.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed it 10 years ago, you're probably going to enjoy it today.
I can't really get into turn-based stuff.
I grew up on it.
My brother tried to get me into Final Fantasy VII, and I kind of played it kind of towards the end of the PS1 lifetime, and I was like, waiting through these attacks is not fast enough for me. So I'm more into like Devil May Cry and Ninja Gaiden 2, and I exempt the first Ninja Gaiden because it was hard as fuck.
Oh my god, I have the first two on NES, and fuck them both.
Oh yeah.
I can't get the third one, but yeah, those first two.
Oh god.
I actually
love
have
Ninja Gaiden 2 because it's beatable. It's actually not that hard in comparison.
I actually have the original strategy guide for Ninja Gaiden 2.
The NES game or the Xbox?
The NES game.
Wow.
Yeah, I just bought that like a couple of days ago from it was a huge box of like Nintendo powers and strategy guides and shit like that. And I bought it from this lady who was a vendor at KomoriCon, that anime convention up in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got it for like $40, and I kind of feel like I underpaid a lot. Because I even got like the recalled Nintendo Power with like issue number 2 and number 1, but number 2, the recalled copy where it's like Simon Belmont holding the decapitated head of Dracula.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Really? That might actually be
pretty hard to find.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's probably not it's definitely not one of those things that's worth like $100 or something. But it's like, I'm pretty sure most of those magazines are going for like between $5-10, generally on eBay and Amazon. So it's like, it's probably I probably could have paid like $80 and probably still been on the rack. I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid.
Are you gonna sell that stuff, or do you just like to collect it?
I just like to keep it. It's a nice nostalgic throwback because we used to have all those magazines when I was a little kid, and I remember reading them all the time.
I remember the Mario 3 Nintendo Power with the.
I have that one too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that thing fell apart. We got some use out of that.
Oh yeah. I even have like part 2 of I think the 2 or 3 part strategy guide for Mario 2.
I like the American Mario 2, even though it's not the legitimate Mario 2.
So did I. Yeah, it was my first Game Boy Advance game also, and that was like how I rediscovered
me too.
that game.
It was one of my first. Yeah.
That and Mega Man and Bass. That was the other one I had.
I never played it. I have actually not really hardly ever done anything with Mega Man, like even going back to the original Nintendo.
On Nintendo, I'm the same as like 90% of the Mega Man scrub community where I love Mega Man 2. But
Yeah.
I was actually a huge fan of Mega Man Legends.
Was that
Like-
Game Boy Advance?
No, that was the
PS1?
BattleNet series or whatever that was called.
Oh,
BattleNet.
yeah.
It was the Warcraft series.
All the weird
No,
Tron
Legends.
/ Mega Man shit.
Yeah. Legends was. I enjoyed it too. Legends was like the kind of adventure one, and it was on PS1, and it was really. I don't know. I thought it was a lot of fun. You know, because you just made Mega Man and you leveled him up and shit.
Oh, okay. There you go.
in essence, and you got to explore dungeons and like collect treasure and money, and like every upgrade like actually kind of felt like you are getting better. Like eventually you get a vacuum arm, which is like so stupid sounding, but it lets you collect every piece of refractor shard and every health drop and stuff. So instead of getting like a quarter of the amount of money that flies out of enemies, you get all of it. So suddenly your economy is just fucking booming. And
Why haven't they made a modern Mega Man game? Like, I mean...
Because Capcom's a piece of shit.
Yeah, true, they're idiots.
They made me pay twice for Dragon's Dogma, just so I could have 3 hours of getting angry.
Yeah.
Except I didn't actually pay full price for Dark Arisen, because I'm not stupid.
Capcom, like, if you think of how great they were and what the fuck they're doing now, like...
They're like the Japanese EA.
Well, I mean, EA actually puts out some arguably good games.
They do.
Capcom is just, I don't know what the fuck they've done in the last 5
They've
years.
made all these, like, Resident Evil games that, like, I swear only 6 people play, but
Well, Resident Evil 6 was a piece of garbage and everyone knew it.
And Resident Evil 5 was just a
It wasn't
mountain.
even...
Oh my god.
It just
I didn't even play it. I just watched like YouTube playthrough of it just because I wanted to see what it was all about. And like I was like, oh, this is terrible. And I told my friend how terrible it was, and he was like, oh, let me play through the game anyway. And he plays through it, beats it. Oh, it was terrible. I fucking told you, man.
I don't think it was terrible, but like it's got the same problems a lot of Japanese games have. It just felt like it had mechanical shit that felt busted and old. You couldn't run and like I think you could run and turn at the same time, but it was like a wide turn, so it didn't mean anything.
I was always confused by how like I understood maybe Resident Evil 4 doing this,
Yeah.
but from 5 onward,
Yeah,
like,
why?
how have you not figured out like third-person shooter controls yet?
And 4 was scaled around that. I mean, it wasn't like the enemies would fuck you over because you had these bad controls. It was still all manageable. 5 it just felt like, okay, now this has busted controls and everything has a leg up on me because I feel like I'm playing this old-ass game.
Yeah, it was just like the controls never evolved, but the enemies would and shit.
Yeah,
It was just,
yeah. 4 is incredible, but no,
I feel it's. I hate to sound like that guy, but I feel like most people who like still enjoy these games are. It's like you're just fanboys. Like,
Oh, yeah. No,
I
sure.
get it. Like I
it
tried
was
to.
a critical disaster. Resident Evil 6 was a critical disaster.
Like, and what was it? Not Umbrella Chronicles. That was the Wii game.
Revelations.
Not Revelations. Shit. Operation Raccoon City.
Yeah,
Like,
that
that game
kind of
looked
flopped.
so. That looked so badass in concept, and then it's just like,
Yeah.
oh,
They
garbage.
need to
It's
get some
like
Western blood in there. I mean,
they need to just drop the franchise or actually reboot it. Like,
well, they are doing that remake.
oh, for fuck's sake.
They're remaking
remaster.
the GameCube remake.
I mean, I get it that you can expose the original to like a younger or newer audience, but at the same time, like, really?
If they're supposed to be fixing the controls, and it does, the screenshots look really good graphically, so for me that works, but at the same time, I just keep saying what everyone else says. Why can't you make a new Resident Evil that feels like old Resident Evil without remaking it? Like, fucking why not? Oh, because your
probably doesn't even like take them that much to remake it. You know, it's just retexture everything to make it look a little better, and then boom, you make it a little cash grab.
That's kind of what I'm expecting out of this. Like, I haven't seen much since the initial screenshots came out, so I haven't followed much of it. But
well, I mean, even if it's retextured, you could. Even if it's not, you could probably just take the engine that they used from Resident Evil 5 and just beef that up a bit and use those exploits.
Yeah.
Because that game looks great. Even today it looks great.
Do you guys like Dead Rising?
I haven't played the third one, but I liked the first two. I felt them to be enjoyable, as stupid as they are.
Yeah, they are pretty stupid games, but it's really fun. Like putting on.
It's kind of like it reminds me of an old kind of a Nintendo game. It's just mindless carnage and fun. Like I'm enjoying my time.
Yeah.
Till that clown fucking shows up.
Exactly.
I did not like Dead Rising 1.
I'm not enjoying it.
So you didn't like what?
I did not like Dead Rising 1.
Okay.
I liked murdering lots of zombies. I didn't like bumping up against all the archaic Japanese design in that game. Like,
you know what really
bad
bothered me about
save points and stuff like that.
What bothered me about the first game is, and it's not even the game's fault, it's actually, I think, Game Informer's fault for making me think this. But this was early on. This is early on in my understanding of what achievements were. I thought achievements actually meant something.
No.
Were rewarded in some way for it. And for all the kills and stuff in Dead Rising, you got zombie killer, zombie ravager, shit like that. Then there was zombie genocider. And it was I remember it was a list of top 10 achievements, and the number one was the zombie genocider for killing 35,000 or some shit zombies in Dead Rising. But it showed a picture of Frank standing on top of a tank. And I was like, oh fuck, you get a tank? So my friend and I just, for hours and hours and hours of our high school youth, just playing the shit out of this game until we got it. And nothing happened. And we're like, oh, maybe it's in the fucking parking garage. Nope.
This sounds like Nintendo problems right here.
Why would you fucking put this screenshot?
This is post-internet you're having this issue.
What you mentioned about the achievements, I also think the whole misconception of achievements meaning something also started with me in Dead Rising as well. All these achievements, these things mean something. They must be power-ups or some shit. And I complete the achievements and they do nothing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always
thought, what the hell?
I always thought because they have these the gamer points or whatever the hell they call them. I always thought that meant that's some sort of a currency. If you got 10,000, that's $10, and you can go buy a $10 game or something on Xbox Arcade or whatever Xbox store. I don't fucking play Xbox, so
yeah.
And it's not because I'm a PlayStation fanboy. Xbox has just never appealed to me, and most of the games I like on Xbox are on PC, which I have on PC. So fuck it. Why would I need an Xbox?
My thing with Sony is, even though I liked a lot of Japanese games growing up, when Xbox came along, it kind of was the PC gamers box. And I grew up playing Dark Forces 2 and a little bit of Doom, but I didn't really get into that until I was older. But Jedi Knight and kind of forgetting all the old shit I played.
I think I actually have all of those games here.
The Jedi Knight games?
Yeah.
The Dark Forces 2 is a great game, and I think it's forgotten by a lot of people that like Star Wars games. But, Xbox is kind of
Dark Forces, Star Forces 2, Mysteries of the Sith, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Academy.
I liked Jedi Academy. I did not like Jedi Outcast.
I only played Dark Forces 1 and 2, and I feel like I played Mysteries of the Sith when I was younger, too, but I never played the others.
Yeah, Jedi Academy's pretty decent. Just Dark Forces 2 was a shooter first and foremost, and they did have lightsaber scenes. The problem is now they can't get their mind off fucking lightsabers, and we can't have a Star Wars shooter for some reason. And Battlefront doesn't count.
Battlefront's
not Dark
great
Forces
and all, but yeah. I think the last shooter-based Star Wars was Shadows of the Empire.
I don't even remember what that is.
For 64.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah. played as I think his name was Dash.
There was a bounty hunter game for GameCube and PS2.
Oh, it wasn't there? Okay, I
That game didn't look.
Totally forgot about those. I heard Bounty Hunter was good.
It looked fine at the time, but a lot of people. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm condescending to console people, but like for a very long time, when console people talked about shooters, I'd kind of go, "Oh, I'm glad you like that game." Like when Halo 1 came out, everyone was like, "Oh my fucking god, the best game ever!" Also, my first game ever. You know, like it's all these people that had never played shooters before, except for maybe GoldenEye, like screaming about how it's the greatest shooter ever and maybe the second shooter they've ever played. And the online multiplayer was great, but guess what? You could only do that on PC with Halo 1.
Yeah.
So I just
I feel like PC gaming eluded a lot of people because like and it still is. It's fairly expensive to actually do that, except for like games now. Games you can go on Steam. Fuck, you know, I paid jack for like 90 plus games in the course of 2 years.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, I have a shitty ass laptop that only cost me $200, but I do some pretty. I enjoy my online experiences. You know, it doesn't cost. I mean, even today, like it's even less expensive to get a PC and play online than it is for consoles.
Yeah, now it's getting to that point now. Like a cheap, shitty PC is actually a pretty fairly decent PC for the most.
If you spend the cost of both of those video game consoles, $800 on a PC, you're gonna get a pretty awesome PC. That's going to be better than any of those new consoles. The hardware, I mean, I still want
the problem. I think the problem inherent with PCs are, especially for people like me, because
they're kind of a pain in the ass.
Okay. They are. Like, they're super temperamental, and sometimes, like, my brother and we play Neverwinter Nights online, like the original Neverwinter Nights, one from, like, 1997, because it's still, like, a pretty fun little D&D thing. It's how we play our D&D sessions, since we can't, you know, we both work and he has kids and stuff, so we can't actually tabletop it anymore.
Adulthood happened. Our life is ruined.
And his computer is like almost 10 years old, it's a piece of shit, and it runs Neverwinter Nights fine, like no problems, except for the computer falling apart, like almost quite literally. And it's old and it's had it. And mine, which is by no stretch of the imagination great, but it's like cost me $400. It's a pretty nice computer. You know, I can run Max Payne fairly well and play Skyrim with an okay frame rate. But it just does not like Neverwinter Nights for shit. Like, I can play it, but it's just as problematic as it can get.
The Witcher wouldn't work on my PC, and my PC is fine. So I totally get people not.
It's because it's new hardware trying to run something that like this is obsolete. It's like using floppy disk technology.
I can't get Max Payne 1 and 2 to work on my PC for some reason.
You know, I couldn't get Max Payne 1 and not Max Payne. Dungeon Siege 1 or Dungeon Siege 2 to work on my PC until I have this weird daisy chain bullshit going on for my monitor, because the HDMI port inside my computer just like broke. It just crumbled. So now it's just exposed fire. I can't plug anything into it. And so we have, what is it, VGA, like the original composite cables.
Oh, yeah.
And have that, an adapter of that plugged in with an HDMI input.
Yeah, there you go.
And just plugged into that. So, and I'm not using a computer monitor. I'm using a TV, like a tiny TV I have.
Yeah.
And now it can, like, sort of emulate screen sizes it could never do before because it's not being recognized as a television.
That's funny. You cheated.
And after doing that, suddenly Dungeon Siege 1 and 2 work.
There you go.
Like, it's just like resolution problems.
It's
goofy as shit. I have a feeling it's going to kill my TV though.
I have an HDMI, just HDMI to HDMI, on my TV. But not to cut off your story, but is there anything else you have played? Well, I could talk all fucking night. I could do a 3-hour podcast. I just don't know how everyone else feels about that, so I try to move the show along sometimes. One day we'll get really drunk. We'll do a long show.
Get drunk and that's Oh, Captain Doc, you've played. You like RTS or like a strategy game? Captain, what is your name again? Sorry.
We'll never remember. Never. We won't remember.
Captain Duck?
Captain Duck. Yeah.
Alright. You like strategy games, right?
Sorry, say it one more time.
You like strategy games, right?
A little bit. Depends on the game.
Okay. Well, I heard Gabe say something about turn-based strategy, but have you played XCOM?
Oh, yeah. Which one?
Just any of them, like enemy. I have Enemy Within. So.
I need Enemy Within. I have Enemy Unknown. I need Enemy Within.
Enemy Within. You have to get that game, dude. It's if you've played it and you play it in and out like the original game, you will love this game. You can buy it back. You can just take the original game and expand it 100-fold. It's a really good game.
I think I made the greatest characters I could in XCOM. I made Bill Reiser and Lance Bean from Contra.
Okay.
And they became my greatest characters. With one was a sniper and one was a scout.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's a fucked up combination.
I usually go for the assault class. The assault class and the snipers. I don't do anything else with anybody else except for the last level where you have to use like rockets to beat the last boss.
I actually haven't beat it. I did what I do with all my Steam games. I get really far, and if I don't beat it in a certain amount of time, I just stop playing.
Oh, okay.
You got 300 more games to play.
Yeah, basically.
Jeez. I've only got up to 54 games. Jeez.
I have 90. Holy shit! I have more than I thought. I have 98.
I have well over 200. So. I mean, I'll
Actually,
exaggerate.
I have to advertise this one, but I think the best game I have ever bought on Steam, because it is easily it's beaten my Skyrim and everything in hours, is Project Zomboid.
Oh, I've heard of that game. I haven't got it yet, but
It's I don't remember if I think it's an early alpha or mid alpha, but I'm not usually too keen on doing that because a lot of the time, it's same fucking argument. I don't want to get into it. But it's great. Right now they haven't implemented NPCs, so it's just a lot of I Am Legend style zombie fighting. But it is the absolute pinnacle of a zombie survival action / RPG. And
the thing about it is
farming simulator.
It's a 2D game.
Yeah.
And it's good. I played it on my friend's computer and I really like the game.
Yeah,
it was at a time when the save option wasn't there. I'm not sure.
There's not even there's a save more or less every time you rest it auto saves. It's just an auto save basically, but you can't really. They even patched this. There was actually a way you could crash the game, and it would save exactly what was happening when the game crashed, but zombies would vanish. They fixed that because I even abused that a few times. But it's a one life kind of deal, permadeath. Once your character's done, they're done. You just got to start over. But you can start over in the world that they were surviving in, so you can maintain the fort they were building or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Then there's a sandbox mode, which lets you customize it. So you can have a shitload of zombies, but they're all blind, deaf, and dumb, so they hardly ever even know you're there. or you can have like even there's like a small pocket of zombies at any given time. Like there's not a lot of them, but they all run instead of like shamble after you. So it's like 28 days later.
Yeah,
Or you get really fucked up and have a lot of them that run.
I think there's even an option where you can like turn off the electricity after like a month or like 2 years.
The thing is, I notice it seems to be like always within 1 week to X amount of days or months, and my electricity always seems to shut off in 6 days. Doesn't matter how much I extend it; it always seems to go 6 days, and then I'm out. Like maybe it's just my luck. I don't know. But
it's early alpha, so it might be that.
It could just be a goof code, but it is so fucking good. And the worst part is when you have a character who survives like 3, 5, 6 months. You know, like I've done, and you have like most of their stats topped out. There's masters of every single craft they possibly can get into, and you have like an entire stash of everything, and then you're confident.
Yeah.
And then you do something fucking stupid and you die.
It's usually how those games go. Like any games where you're really under pressure, you like have to reload or run out of ammo completely, and that time where you got to swap your weapon or whatever, it's over.
Dude, that's the one of the worst things, but it's the only thing I can do because there's no cars, there's no carts, there's no wagons or anything like that. Is if I'm moving from like one base to another base or something, sometimes what I'll do is I'll have my character wear a backpack and then put one backpack in each hand so you can transport like 3 bags worth of material. But it does not let him attack. So it's like I literally have to like just outmaneuver every single thing that comes at me, and it sucks.
One of the things about the game that like kind of it's just like I think it's a really cool part of it. It's just when you go into a house and like all of a sudden there's just a horde of zombies trying to break into the house through the windows, and you're just like, oh fuck, did I really think this place was safe? Yeah.
I don't know how many times after I convinced my brother to buy this that he would text me or message me on Skype or something with like, and here I am stuck in a bathroom with the bed pounding on the door.
This game sounds a lot like Contagion.
The movie?
No, there's a game called Contagion.
Oh, the game
and
Contagion.
It's awesome.
It's
just playing online's kind of, playing online's kind of busted.
I haven't played Contagion, but I did play No More Room in Hell, and if I do
See,
believe
this is myself and Paz, the same conversation we always have until I think, I don't know, did you ever get it? Did you ever get Contagion?
I do want to play Contagion, though.
I got gifted Contagion.
Oh, right!
Like 6 months after I got No More Room in Hell, and I kind of I like No More Room in Hell more.
I don't like how clumsy everything felt in No More Room in Hell.
I got pretty good at it.
That melee, they could patch that. Because it's just kind of like this little nudge. I feel like I'm bunting the enemy. Instead of bashing them.
That's awesome. Sorry.
Anyway, I think we will move on to Pause, not trying to cut you off. Unless you played anything else awesome worth mentioning.
No. I mean,
no.
I could go on for a long time because I have a lot of stuff, but
yeah, so do I. Well, not really.
Like last time I counted, I have in the realm of 300 Super Nintendo and Nintendo games.
Oh God, we gotta.
Yeah.
Have you ever captured anything
like physical games?
Do you capture on your PC?
I don't.
Okay. Well, in the future, maybe we'll have to set something up. Pause. Games. Have you played any talking like this weird?
I recently downloaded Battlefield Online, which is the free-to-play version.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. It kind of has the feel of the old Battlefield games where, it's kind of a little bit shitty graphics, but not that shitty. And the gameplay mechanics play the same as Battlefield 2 1942 and 2142. So that's. Other than that, I haven't really been playing too many other games.
I saw you purchase some games on Steam recently.
Yeah, and I haven't played them.
Not have been peddling like a crazy person.
Oh,
just stalking me, yeah. Okay.
That reminds me, I did play, and I played the first episode, first season before, but I finally caved and bought the entirety of The Walking Dead season 1 and 2 on PC.
I beat the first season.
Yeah,
we've all beaten the first season, haven't we?
Yeah, I used to have a PS3, but I just said, fuck it, I can get all the seasons for cheaper on PC.
I will play season 2 eventually.
I think I played that game like 4 times just to see what happened with different situations. It's a really fun game.
Yeah, I without spoilers, I kind of regret my choice at the end of season 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't touched it. Eventually I'll buy it.
I haven't touched it either.
I'm just, like, I love the storytelling, but, man, action games are what work for me, and I get bored, so it's really hard for me to commit to story-driven games that don't have some kind of, like... Something to break up the story. Some tactile combat, you know? Like, that's why I like shooters. They feel tactile, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'll play that eventually, sure.
I've always been more of an RPG person. Like, I like action-adventure games, but I've always been oriented towards RPGs.
Well, lately...
Skyrim.
Hmm?
Oh, nothing. I was going to say Skyrim was one that I've delved a lot of time into, and I still haven't completed every quest in it.
I have not even beaten the game, and I have sunk... I had it on PS3, so my PC hours are kind of a lie. But I have like somewhere, I think, towards 90 hours on PC, but I have like more than 200 logged into the PS3, and I never beat the game.
Yeah.
The combat in Skyrim is not as good, to me, personally, as Fallout 3. I like the shooting in Fallout 3 more than the combat in Skyrim. I'm
kind of the opposite. Like, I could never really get behind the shooting in the Fallout games. Like, I love the Fallout games.
Well,
but I don't know. I could never really.
It's mostly the leveling and the numbers that draw me to it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Shooting is just more engaging to me. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on what part of the brain it is that gets stimulated when. Because the combat in Skyrim to me just didn't feel tactile. I just couldn't get into it, and the whole. I think Fallout 3 is a more streamlined game. Like, you're just kind of... You could run anywhere, but you most of the time know where you're going. I feel like...
Skyrim is... You could get lost in side quests.
Yeah.
Crazy easy.
I avoid side quests, usually. Mostly because I just don't feel like they're as good as the main quests. And I'm kind of getting to the point in my life where I played a lot of video games, and it really takes a lot to keep my attention, which means side quests just don't have time for them. And that's what killed me with Borderlands too.
That's what gets me on Borderlands as well. Like, I love Borderlands, but it ultimately boils down to, like, the most fun I have on playing Borderlands is when I am playing with a friend who's doing all the quests while I just murder everything around him.
Yeah, and all the side stuff is just awful. It's just kind of typical. I mean, that's why I'm not into these big open world games as much as everyone else, because it's usually the quests are just bad. It's just like, spend a lot of time running around until you get to this guy, and at best just click on him and not have to run around and talk to anybody else.
It's very particular for me. Like, I don't know, the way to describe, like, me in fantasy style video games and open world style games is it does allow me to express that, like, imaginative outlet that I've always had since I was a kid in a way that, like, makes sense. Like,
I like the atmosphere of like Skyrim and these, big open games. It's just playing them. That's the part that gets to me.
Yeah. Did you play Dragon's Dogma? Or hear of it?
No, I heard no fast traveling and all the running around, and I said no.
The rip-off Bitter Black Isle expansion pack actually did fix that, but I felt like that was like kind of an underrated game because it does what not a lot of games do, and it kind of in the beginning gives you kind of a Dark Souls difficulty because like everything can kill you because you're fucking weak, and once you hit like level 60, nothing's a problem. Once you hit level 100, nothing is a problem ever again until you do the Bitter Black Isle. Then everything's a problem again. But
I think they should make a sequel to that and just kind of give it the proper what they wanted to do with the first one with fast travel and
Yeah, I mean, and until I had already like beaten the game and I had to do the same back and forth quests enough times, the fast travel like I felt like would have ruined the experience. Because it's just like, oh, you get to go through this like huge world and you have these companions who talk and you get to like.
But is this world populated with anything?
That was the fucking problem. Like your companions have nothing interesting to say more than half the time. None of the time. None of the fucking time do they have something interesting to say.
You're just a dude without a car in this game is really what the problem is.
It's what it starts to turn into. Like, you have to walk so fucking far, and it's always the same monsters that come out, and they don't scale level with you. They're always in the same exact spot, so it's always just routine, and it's just, like, this was cool, like, half a dozen times, and now it's just, like, now it's a chore.
Yeah. That's the problem with a lot of games.
If they were able to break it up a little bit better, like, make multiple paths, some faster, some slower, some more dangerous, some not so dangerous, give me a high path and a low path, and randomize your monsters. Like those griffins that randomly come down and attack, like they hardly even show up. It felt like if they were like slightly more, frequent, that would be all right. Like it had so much going right for it that it's like it's just short of being really good. It's just pretty cool.
I don't know if you're familiar with the combat, the monster takedowns in this game, but it's a lot like a game like Shadow of the Colossus. Seen that?
Okay. Huh.
You basically have to scale the monsters to take them out. You jump on them and you just kind of got to climb them.
Oh my god! And being a sorcerer in that game is so cool. I'm more of a warrior person, but the sorcery in that, it's just like you take a while to conjure these spells, but like when you hit a griffin with 3 gigantic fucking tendrils of frost shooting out of the ground and stabbing it. That is a fucking wonderful feeling. Or throwing tornadoes at shit, like giant maelstroms.
Why haven't they made a sequel to this? It doesn't make sense.
Because Capcom's a piece of shit.
That's like the answer to all video game problems is Capcom. It's like the George Bush of video games.
Every time they have a good idea, they're like, what can we do to cause microtransactions and fuck it up for people who are going to really like this?
Or just make a bad game altogether. They're pretty good at doing that.
Like, Dragon's Dogma was fun, but it was plagued with microtransactions. Like, oh, do you want some, like, armor? Yeah. Well, that's like $6. Do you want some hair? That's $2. What the fuck?
Yeah.
When I caved was like, I think it was like hair. It was hair and voice sets. And I'm like, oh, cool, more voices? Like, shit, I'll pay $2 for like 6 new voices. That's a lot. And maybe they'll have something interesting to say now. That was my hope. And then it's just like, oh, it's pitch shifted voices so they can sound like Barry White or Chipmunks. And this is like right when they're trying to fuck me with Dark Arisen, where it's like, oh, instead of making this a $20, $15 DLC that you can just download to your initial game, how about we just re-release the game for a $40 price tag with 3 hours of extra content?
Capcom wouldn't do that.
Never.
They wouldn't do that with a game like Street Fighter either.
Oh yeah, where you have to pay for things that are part of the game.
It's just they don't understand DLC yet. That's the thing. They should just make one base version of the game, and you buy the extra shit.
It's like the same business practices of EA though, where they're just like, oh, let's just nickel and dime our fucking customers left and right.
But it works for EA, I think, to a certain extent. I don't think Capcom's gaining from their stupidity.
Well, it works for EA, especially for games like The Sims, where they just like charge you $20 for like 60 different DLCs that just give you nothing.
Yeah.
Like cosmetic.
The thing about it is, like, my girlfriend is an example because she plays The Sims and she has like all of the expansions for it. Is a lot of the time we misconstrue the Sims expansions of like, look at $400 of bullshit. Like, oh yeah, but are you actually buying $400 of bullshit all at once? Like, it doesn't really make a difference realistically in your economy, but you're buying it in sections, which means you're not $400 all at once on a bunch of horse shit.
If you're buying something that's going to extend the life of your game and you're okay with that, I think it's one thing, but, like, I don't play a lot of expansions anymore. Like, because of my attention span getting smaller with video games and because I play almost every game nowadays and say, I've played this shit before, no one's innovating, and I turn it off. There's that problem, to where I just can't play a lot of expansions because I'm kind of done with the game. Hopefully by the time I finished it, or I haven't finished it at all. That's a bigger problem to me now, is that they're trying to extend the life of a game that maybe was padded out in the first place. Maybe not with The Sims, but with expansions in a whole nowadays. Or maybe I'm just older. I'm getting old. I'm an older gamer.
I don't know. I feel like DLC has to be done strategically, and I don't feel like most companies seem to be figuring that one out.
No.
Like, and like a great example, I feel like is Red Dead Redemption. Like, a shit ton of extra content, like a year after release.
Yeah.
For like $20, like, oh cool,
It's
like
a
I'm
smart
paying
way
a decent amount of money for a bunch of, for a complete new like alternate storyline and like a whole new everything. Like the entire atmosphere of the world is different. Like it's almost like a whole new game.
Put that in a DVD case and you're gonna sell probably, even if you're.
Oh, they did. In the end, they like actually sold it as a separate thing for like some odd amount of money. But it was like, yeah, that's cool.
Do we want to take a break?
You know what?
And then we will reconvene and bang this out.
Sure.
So, you were saying something before my bodily functions caused me to retreat from the show.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, as far as DLC, I never bother with DLC. I always just download mods to increase the longevity of my games. If there's a DLC that's worth downloading, like in Skyrim, like Hearthfire and like the other DLCs that came out, then yeah, I'll go ahead and download them. But most of the time, I never really bother with them, because there's for every game that's out there, there's probably a mod out there that you can download.
I've been suckered into some stupid DLC before.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I've been suckered into a lot of DLC I didn't even want to play. By the time I finished the game, I said, I'm kind of done here.
Yeah.
I am glad to say I've never paid for a free-to-play, or whatever you want to call it, game. I've come close, especially with like the Star Wars The Old Republic MMO, but never paid for it.
The only decent free-to-play game I've gotten into was that Ghost Recon Phantoms, I think is what it's called. Was it? Pause, wasn't that what it was called? Ghost Recon Phantoms?
Yeah. Phantoms, yeah. That's a good game.
It's pretty good. I think they're finally adding some stuff to it, so I'll have to look at it again sometime. My problem is it was just like one game type, and I'm just kind of a team deathmatch guy. I don't want objectives in the way of my gameplay. So that's kind of how I feel about that game. But yeah, most free-to-play games don't work for me.
Yeah.
I did like the car mechanics in that game. Ghosts of Phantoms. Oh shit! I almost made the mistake of calling Phantoms Ghosts, Call of Duty Ghosts.
Well, shit. I mean, nowadays they don't even try to differentiate themselves. It's almost like they're trying to confuse you.
Yeah.
I honestly have just never been a fan of like really either of them.
I played Ghost Recon Phantoms because I was big into Rainbow Six Vegas, and that's kind of like the closest thing that we've had in a while. Most military stuff doesn't work for me because it's just too competitive. I'm an adult.
The Phantoms games. The Phantoms games is a Tom Clancy's title, right? Is that
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Ghost
I
Recon
always
is
liked Tom Clancy.
Tom Clancy.
Okay.
You got that in Splinter Cell and Rainbow Six and all that, but I think Ubisoft needs to take a hard look at the Tom Clancy name and figure out what the fuck it means to them, because, like, I mean, I guess it's kind of turning around a little bit now because you have The Division and you have that new Rainbow Six game that looks good. But a couple years ago, like, what the hell did Tom Clancy mean, to anybody anymore?
No, Tom Clancy, I just remember the only thing about Tom Clancy besides Splinter Cell I know anything about is that my grandpa had literally every fucking book Tom Clancy wrote until my grandpa died.
And he had a lot of books that he didn't actually write. Like, his branding was kind of just all over the place. For example, with the games. But yeah, he has a lot of books that say written by someone that's not Tom Clancy. It's just he kind of became a brand. He died like last year, huh?
Yeah, he was just like the fucking American soldier novelist.
Yeah, I like Rainbow Six and Splinter Cell, but I don't get into the Republican hoorah nonsense, like "Go America," kind of stuff. I'm like,
It's always good to kind of stray away from it.
Yeah. As for me this week, because I've been so bored with modern gaming and just staring at my Steam list for hours and clicking on games and saying no, and I'm not interested. I got rid of Halo 1, 3, and 4. I still have my Halo 2 Collector's Edition, which I don't have the heart to sell. But I sold those because I eventually plan to get an Xbox One because I need that Halo 2 anniversary. I must play Halo 2 again in modern glory. But I sold all that shit, and while I was there, I grabbed a game called Cardinal Sin for the PS1. This game is weird because it's basically Soul Calibur, but for the PS1. And I looked into this company. See, these old game cases, they don't even display the name of the developer. They just have the name of the publisher on the case. Anyway, I looked into the developer, and they make a bunch of games that are basically Soul Calibur. So yeah, I don't know. You got like the weird guy that. Have either of you played Soul Calibur 4?
Yeah. You talking about Voldo?
How did you know? Before I even said it.
Weird guy.
Yeah, okay, that's enough. Yeah,
Well,
you kind of have. I wonder if people that made Cardinal Sin are some of the same people that did Soul Calibur, because there's Voldo kind of characters, and it's Soul Calibur, through and through. I don't remember if ring outs were in the game because I was kind of just playing it alone. So I just played it for like half an hour and said, this game's pretty rad. I'm glad I only spent $5 on it. Instead of many classic video game purchases, which is, oh boy, there used to be no standards for video games. You can just shit anything out on the market. So this one is actually a good purchase. And it would be fun to get someone around to play Cardinal Sin. I opened up the CD case, the CD-ROM case, and was quickly reminded of how flimsy these old fucking plastic cases are. It kind of came apart in my hands. But other than that, I kind of started Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance recently.
I still haven't played that.
It's alright. As stuck up as I am with mostly just liking Ninja Gaiden and Devil May Cry, it's fine. It's really ridiculous, kind of in a way that I like. Who is playing games? I can hear that.
What?
Someone didn't put their headphones on. What was that? I heard a shotgun. Wow.
I'm pausing The Last of Us.
Oh, okay. You can't do a podcast and play The Last of Us at the same time. You'll die repeatedly.
Yes, you can. Okay, yes, you can. This is a good video game podcast, remember?
You can try, but if you've ever played The Last of Us, it demands all of your attention.
It really does.
If you're anything like me.
It's on my wish list. So.
Yeah, I wish that game was on PC. Like, how great that game would look on, like, a modern PC. But I plan to get a PS4 eventually. It's just, I don't even have an Xbox One, and that's higher on my priority list. The problem with, I bought a PS3, and The Last of Us is probably the best experience I had on it. And I beat a couple of the Uncharted games, and that was kind of it. Like, it was kind of just a Blu-ray player, and I know they have a shitload of exclusives, but I'm just not that into Sony exclusives, to be honest. So even though my PC is my main gaming accessory, I tend to, if I have to go console, Xbox, because I like Halo, and shooters just work better with that controller to me than the DualShock, any of them. Are they still calling it the DualShock now? Called the DualShock 4?
I don't know.
Or the PS4 controller? I don't know. I recently, speaking of controllers, I recently bought. So, what happened to my Xbox One controller that I had plugged into my PC? Beginning of the story is the 360 controller broke. And so I said, well, drivers came out for that Xbox One controller like 2 days ago, so I'm going to get that. Eventually, from dropping it and tripping over the cord too many times, I kind of fucked up the port on the controller, which is not hard to do. So I just said, fuck this. I'm just going to get one of those wireless Xbox 360 controller dongles, and that was that. So I just have this wireless receiver on my PC, and now if I want to play with people on my PC, I can, because I don't have to worry about cords and reach and all that. And I think, why didn't I do this years ago? So the moment they make a wireless Xbox One receiver for the PC, I'll probably jump all over that.
I really wish there's a way to get PS3 controllers to work on PC, but I sure as shit have not been able to figure it out.
Yeah, you would have to download some third-party software, and I don't really waste my time with any of that, because it's usually going to turn out not like a console experience. That's the thing, like, with Sony people, like, there's not much I can tell them. Like, the only people I know that won't, like, kind of concede to the whole, I don't want to use words like PC master race or anything crazy like that, but, like, everyone I know that doesn't give a fuck about PC gaming, they're Sony people, and I can't blame them, because what the fuck are they gonna do?
I don't know, I play all sides of the fence when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, but some don't. Some people are strictly Japanese stuff.
Yeah.
Or stuff that would work for a person that owns a Sony console.
Yeah. I actually am going to have to get rolling here.
That's fine. I really don't have anything else to say, except for I farted around with Cardinal Sin and whatnot. I was digging into Broforce, and it's a shame that you can't just restart those old levels. You have to restart the game. But,
no.
Yeah, because it's early access and all that. You just got to keep restarting the game. But I will wrap this show up because I think we have talked enough. If you want to find me on Twitter, Gabe0083. You can find the podcast on YouTube, same name, Gabe0083. Yeah, if you want to be on the show, just contact me on Twitter, and then we will meet up on Skype and record the conversation. I will record it on my end. You just need to talk into a microphone. With that said, thanks for joining me, Pause, and dog guy, I can't remember your name.
Cap.
Dr. Dog!
Cap.
Doctor. I don't really,
Captain Dog.
I don't really use the screen names too much anymore, so that's alright.
First names! That's my... I kind of...
Call him Doctor.
Yeah, Doctor. The Doctor will be it. Anyway. Well,
That's
thanks for
good.
listening, guys. Thanks for talking, guests. I don't know how to end this show, so...
Alright.
See ya.
Cool.
Alright.
See you guys.